and the energy is the Temperance card. So for some of you today, we'll focus on a Sagittarius person. It may be their sun, their moon, or their rising sign. So it's the second major card this week. And so yesterday and today are important markers for events. It's a day where, for some of you, you really have to look at self-restraint. This card is tied to Jupiter, and whatever Jupiter touches, it expands it. It exaggerates it. And so today is a day where you have to look at where you're going too far or maybe not far enough. It's a card of moderation, finding that middle ground. And in some cases, that may be between you and others. Maybe you're reconciling your differences, or you're looking at whether you're compatible. You're weighing your options. You're trying to find the middle course, the right approach, that balanced viewpoint, the right mix of something, and a sense of proper timing. That could be important today. Appropriate and proper timing. It's also about fairness and, releasing any intolerant views or being prejudiced in any way, taking that extreme position. Today is all about compromise and using discretion within the context of whatever your circumstances are. So in some cases, you're having to make peace. You're having to forgive, to accommodate some kind of change, and perhaps you're doing that based on yesterday's card. Some kind of intense situation that may be life-changing or have a psychological effect on you. Some of you, you're coming in contact with spiritual healers or people who are very concerned with balance. Maybe they're, this is an artist or a cook, or an alchemist, a mediator, something that brings two things that may be, not quite in harmony, and bringing that into balance. And it could be a partnership. Maybe this is about a mixed marriage, interracial situations, or civil rights activism. So you're looking at, again, extremism in any direction. And today encourages compromise and moderation. That is your key. In some cases, maybe yesterday's intensity means that today you really have to, take a step toward healing something by having a very honest, frank discussion. And, when people try to merge with their own personalities, their own background, ideas, perspective, it can be difficult to find common ground. But today, the art is of learning to agree to disagree without putting your relationship in jeopardy or feeling as if you're pushing or imposing or infringing or judging in some way. So it's about clearing the air to find peace for all through reconciliation, sharing, being honest. So you may be looking at the appropriate moment or the proper timing of saying certain things or putting forth your opinions or your ideas. Because timing, can have an impact on how something is received. You're also looking at that release and surrender theme of yesterday. Are you tempted to stay chained to people that really aren't serving you in any way as far as, in your best interest? The overarching card of the Four of Pentacles says you're hanging on to something and there's a price for that. Is it worth it? So you may be holding on to a circumstance or a person or relationship, a group of people, and telling yourself that you're doing it for certain reasons, that it's for your own good or it's for their sake. And really, this is just about getting clear with yourself. If it's a negative relationship, then that's just what it is. And, you can sugarcoat it or change it around, but something that's unhealthy is just that. And maybe it's just a convenient habit. And maybe it's even an excuse for not making the most of yourself, especially if you're taking on a responsibility that's limiting you in some way personally from growth, and, saying that you're doing it for their sake. Maybe you're doing it for your own sake because it means that if you let go of it, you would have to perform, or maybe you'd have to hold yourself accountable. And so perhaps you're having to look at where you've been taking some talents or gifts or skills or something about yourself for granted that's keeping you from making that the most of yourself. It's also a day where maybe it's hard for you to relax, and maybe you don't even know why. There's something going on for some of you physically. Maybe it's a rash out of nowhere. You don't know what's causing it, or maybe it's an annoying illness of some sort. So something about the circumstance is also affecting you physically. This is a day where maybe you had a dream last night, or maybe you'll dream something tonight that is actually prophetic in some way, or profound, or has deep meaning. And so pay attention to those things. There could be some kind of message in there for you. And dreams can be very dicey to try to figure out, or try to interpret. But there is, for some of you, a message coming through in a dream. It's a day where, you have to be mindful. You have to be present, because today you could get distracted, and more so than usual. And you may act on impulse. Sagittarius is a sign that can be very blunt. Sometimes saying things without fully considering the ramifications. It's a brutal honesty. But you have to make sure that you're following your intuition and not just your impulses, because you might actually say something or do something, maybe even purchase something that you later regret. And yesterday's card has a tie to finances and debt and expenses, and something being expensive, a large sum of money. So be careful that you don't impulsively do something that, exceeds your capabilities or puts you in some kind of risk that you feel later. When you review your situation, you may find that, again, that Four of Pentacles is playing out, that you're taking on burdens, self-inflicted burdens, and you may be surprised that that standard you were holding yourself to, or what you were trying to accomplish, that maybe you thought meant something to others or for others, they're not expecting that. You're the only person demanding too much of yourself. So today is all about hitting that middle ground, finding the balance, healing or creation or expressing something, but not getting carried away, not overdoing it, not becoming obsessed with something or volatile in the process that causes some inappropriate behavior, poor judgment, impropriety, or a lack of restraint.